we did. We went to America for a couple days.
Sí, fueron a casa.
No.
No.
Hotel?
No,
Is it a hotel?
yeah. Yeah.
So, vamos hotel.
¿A un hotel?
¿Sí?
¿Pero qué hicieron en sus vacaciones? What did you do on your break?
We didn't really a break.
We didn't really take a break. We just kind of got stuff we eat. Like, they came back.
Now that you were asking about weddings and stuff, I remember Professor Gerardo told you something about the word to get married in Spanish, which is casados. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. The word casar, which means to get married.
Oh,
Hey, my nails to get married. Let me make it bigger. Casar, to get married, is the same word than casar. You spell it different, but it sounds the same. It's another word in Spanish, and it means to hunt.
What?
to hunt.
Yeah. No sé si eso fue a propósito. I don't know if it was on purpose, but casar, en casar, it's just a difference for one letter, and it means to get married and to hunt. And now I was thinking that ahora soy la esposa del profesor Gerardo. Esposa, you know what it means?
Husband?
Wife, but also esposa. Let me show you what it means.
Uh-oh. It's a
I
game.
know. Handcuffs. I mean, I really don't know if that was just a coincidencia or if it was on purpose.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's a little interesting. It's
Esposa.
that's a little scary.
Handcuff. I think that's the way. But oh well. Soy la esposa ahora. Okay, guys, we have a lot to learn. Not easy stuff. Se los advierto que está un poco difícil, pero estuve pensando que esto les va a servir mucho. Los va a ayudar mucho, especialmente ahora que están ayudando a los niños con inglés, que ahora son teachers, son profesores. Les va a ayudar mucho. Okay, ¿qué vamos a ver el día de hoy? Y no solo el día de hoy, esta clase la vamos a ver varios días porque es muy extensa, es muy larga, es difícil de aprender. But let me show you some things first before to start with the topics that I got ready. Ok, primero, bienvenidos de regreso. Welcome back. Les estoy enseñando un calendario del mes de abril. Este es el mes de abril. I am showing you this because we have, you know, cultura mexicana. Tenemos muchas fiestas, muchos días de celebración. Entonces quiero que ustedes sepan cuáles son las fechas que celebramos en este mes. I want you to know the festivities of each month, so you know what it's the kind of important days for us. Next month we will have a lot of this. El siguiente mes tenemos muchas fiestas. El mes de abril nos queda una muy importante, ¿ok? But first, we are in this day, oopsie, 14 de abril del 2021. Today we celebrate or commemorate one day Día de las Américas. We really don't celebrate it. Día de las Américas, you know, the country, and I am not talking about just United States. I am talking about North America, Central America, South America, because for us, when people say America, we think in the whole continent. For us, it's just one continent. Let me show you. For us, it's all of this. It's also a team, soccer, football team in Mexico, America. Very popular. But oh well, when we think about America, we are talking about the whole continent. This is a continent for us. We do not divide it that much in North, Central, and South America. For us, it's just America. But we celebrate the union or the friendship of all of these countries. And it's more like we commemorate them. We don't really celebrate it. We just think about that date, and that's all. And I think that celebration started in Washington, D.C. But oh well, no lo celebramos mucho, solo lo conmemoramos. Okay, next important date, and I think when we are in class, we really talk about this day and we do activities for this day, is Día de la Tierra. Día de la Tierra. Do you know what tierra means?
Earth Day.
Yes, yes. So you know, we do a lot of activities with the kids that day. I mean, in a normal situation, we would do a lot of activities. We take all that month to commemorate the Earth and to remember the things we can do to take care of our planet. And we do little changes, okay? Día de la Tierra. Viernes 23 de abril, Día del Libro. We also do some activities for that day, Día del Libro. We encourage the reading. We make or we do a fair book, usually when we are in class, in normal class. A veces le pedimos a los alumnos que traigan un libro de su casa. We ask them to bring their favorite book or one book from their houses, and we share with the other students, or we just simply do something related to books and reading. But we really take those weeks to do changes and activities about taking care of the earth, and also to encourage the reading. Muy importante, leer. But I think the most important date in April, en abril, es el Día del Niño. Celebramos el Día del Niño en México el 30 de abril. Have you been in un Día del Niño en México?
No.
No?
Have you, Kevin? No.
Okay, what is that day for? ¿Para qué es ese día? Ese día, obviamente, celebramos a los niños y a las niñas, niños y niñas. And this was created, you know, history after the First World War, where we tried to respect and make everything to preserve the rights for the children. But after that, you know, many years after that, we just celebrate it. Solo celebramos el Día del Niño. Lo celebramos, recordamos los derechos de los niños, the rights of the children. We commemorate that. We usually, as teachers, we talk about children's rights during that week, so they know what are their rights. A vivir en una casa, a tener una familia, a ser cuidados, a tener atención médica, a ser amados, a un nombre y nacionalidad y a divertirse. Okay? Many rights for them. So that day we basically we have a party. Usually we have parties for Children's Day. Look. Fiestas del Día del Niño. We usually have festivals at school for younger kids. Sometimes we have like costume parades, or we invite clowns or shows for them. We have food for them, the food that they want, the food that they like, and also candies, lots of candies that day. Muchos dulces, payasos, brincolines, confetti, globos. It's a big festival at school. So we will have to think about something to celebrate a la distancia. Let me show you. I just have one picture here of un día del niño en la escuela. As you can see, sometimes they are allowed to bring their own clothes, to not wear uniform that day. So it's a day that they really wait for. Es un día que les gusta mucho a ellos. Hay juegos, las maestras a veces se disfrazan, hay comida, dulces, pastel, muchas cosas, muy divertido. So I will let you know if I think about something to celebrate in the distance with them. Or you can let me know if you have an idea. But oh well, I just wanted to know that. Solo para que sepan que el 30 de abril es un día especial para los niños. Ok, ¿listos para el tema de verdad? ¿Listos para la clase de verdad? ¿Sí? ¿No? Ok. Este es nuestro tema. Imperative, to give instructions. Vamos a ver el imperativo del español. Es un poco de gramática. It's a lot of grammar. It's a lot sometimes to memorize, but it is really useful. Va a ser de mucha ayuda, sobre todo ahora que están ustedes trabajando con los niños, now that you are working with the kids and that you are trying to give them instructions para los cuadernillos. This might help you. Okay, imperativo. ¿Para qué nos sirve? Okay, para seguir instrucciones, dar órdenes, pedir favores o dar consejos. We can use the imperative to follow or give instructions, to order or command, to ask for favors, and to give advices. Nos sirve para todo eso. Okay, verbs in the imperative are often used together with polite phrases, such as por favor. Okay, this is basically to give commands or to command something or to give an instruction. But when we are talking to other people, it is important to be polite. So sometimes we use por favor. But, however, it's important for you to remember that in Spanish, the tone of the voice sometimes communicate even more than the words you say. Okay? So if you say, dame un vaso de agua, it sounds a little bit rude. But if you say, dame un vaso de agua, it's the tone of your voice which make it polite. Okay? Somos muy sensibles. But oh well, let's start. ¿Cómo utilizamos el imperativo? As I told you, you can give instructions, You can give advices, you can commend, and you can use it for other things like marketing and also to give permission. But those are not really our thing, but I will just include it. Recomendar y aconsejar. To recommend and give advice. For example, camina durante 30 minutos. Camina durante 30 minutos. ¿Qué significa?
Give me 30 minutes.
Walk.
Yes, to walk during 30 minutes. This is just like an advice, okay? It's not an order. I am not commanding you to walk for 30 minutes. This is just like an advice to be healthy, you know, to exercise. Camina durante 30 minutos. Para dar instrucciones, to give instructions. I think this is for what we will use it the most. Creo que lo vamos a utilizar aquí más because you are giving instructions to the kids en los cuadernillos, ¿ok? Lave bien las manzanas, después córtelas en 4 trozos y métalas en el horno, ¿ok? Lave, wash, córtelas, cut, y métalas, to put them in the oven. This, I think this could be for a recipe. Creo que esto es para una receta de cocina, pero podemos dar instrucciones para muchas cosas. Por ejemplo, para hacer un trabajo escolar o para hacer un ejercicio. So we will use this a lot with the kids. Ordenar. I think these are very similar. Ordenar y dar instrucciones. Lávate las manos y pon la mesa. Okay, wash your hands and set the table. Pon la mesa. Lávate las manos y pon la mesa. And I don't think we will use this a lot. This is for marketing, mensajes publicitarios. Ven a nuestras tiendas y disfruta de nuestras ventajas. Okay, ven, come to our stores and disfruta, enjoy of our ventajas would be something like advantages or facilities, good things, ventajas. We won't use them a lot, so we will not work on this very much. Conceder permiso. To give permission, por ejemplo, ¿puedo pasar? Can I come in? Sí, pasa, pasa. Pasa, pasa. Pasa, pasa. Okay. We will check them one by one. It might be a lot of information, but I need to give you this information, and then I think we will learn better when we actually practice it. But we need the information first. Para el imperativo, we change the verbs, so we have to conjugar los verbos. We will have to change the verbs to give instructions or to give advices or to command. Vamos a necesitar cambiarlos, ¿ok? ¿Cuáles son algunas reglas? Let me know if I'm going too fast or if you are not understanding something, ¿ok? I can totally stop and go back and explain it again. Algunas reglas. The imperative form in Spanish exists for the first person, plural, nosotros o nosotras. For the second person in singular, tú. And the polite form, usted in singular and ustedes in plural. That means that you can give advices thinking about this kind of people. Nosotras, tú, o ustedes. Why do I say this? Because if we think of this, if I keep in mind these persons, nosotros, tú, usted y ustedes, I will be able to change the verbs. We will see it a little bit later. The imperative is always conjugated without a personal pronoun and in the present tense. O sea que vamos a conjugarlo, no necesitamos, it is not necessary to say, tú recorta este papel. Because if you just conjugate the verb, people will understand that you are talking about tú, nosotras, usted, o ustedes. It is not necessary to mention who are you giving the advice or who are you giving the instruction. Because if you conjugate the verb correctly, people will know that you are talking about tú, nosotras, usted, o ustedes. Let's check some examples. Imperativo afirmativo. La segunda persona del singular, tú. When you are giving instructions or commanding or giving advice for tú, for the second person, singular. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? We're going to change the verb. We have our base verbs, cantar, comer, vivir, pensar, volver, pedir. Okay, if you see, most of them end in ar, ir. Ar, ir. This is the same for most of the verbs. In the base form, they end in ar, ir. How can we change it? Usually we will change it thinking about ella o él, o sea, masculino o femenino. Cantar, canta. Comer, come. Vivir, vive. Pensar, piensa. Volver, vuelve. Pedir, pide. If you think about this, coincide con la tercera persona, es decir, coincide como si fuéramos a hablarle a él o ella. Check this. Ella canta. Él canta. Ella come. Él come. Ella vive. Él vive. It happens to be the same verb that we use for él o ella. That's why I'm telling you we can use it thinking about masculino y femenino. Because we will change it for terminación a o e. Doesn't matter that we are talking about tú. Okay? Tú come la comida. It's an order. You eat the food. I am not telling that you are eating the food. It is like a command. Because if I am talking in present, I would say, tú estás comiendo la comida. But we are changing the verbs, and all of these are for commands, orders, or instructions, advices. Come. Tú piensa en un plan. Think about a plan. Or think of a plan. And the other thing is that I told you that when we are giving advices, orders, commands, we don't have to say the subject. No tenemos que decir tú, because we will understand that you are talking about that person. For example, piensa en un plan. Think about a plan. People will know that I am talking to you. Tú piensa en un plan. Come toda la comida. Eat all the food. Who? You, tú. Canta en la iglesia el día de hoy. Canta en la iglesia el día de hoy. Okay, sing at the church today. Who? Tú. I didn't say tú, but we understand that because of the ending of the verbs. Piensa, come, vive, vuelve, pide. Pide permiso para ir al viaje. Pedir. Pide. Ask for permission to go to the trip. Pide permiso. I am not saying tú pide permiso, but people will understand because of the ending of the verbs. Pide. Okay, and remember, it will change different depending of who are we talking. Usted, ustedes, nosotras y nosotros. Okay? Remember, most of the verbs in the base form end in ar, ir. Cantar, comer, vivir. To sing, to eat, to live. Cantar, comer, vivir. Okay? Para tú, you are talking about you, the other person, second person. We will just think about ella o él, right? Because tú es ella o él. Él canta, él come, él vive. But if you want to be really polite, we think about the word usted, right? No es tú. Tú is a little bit more informal. Usted is a little bit more polite. For good news, it applies the same rule for this. It ends with letter E o A. Usted cante. Usted coma. Usted viva. Okay? It is the same rule. Usted cante, usted coma, usted viva, usted pida. And remember, we don't have to say la persona. No tenemos que decir usted. Because if we conjugate correctly the verb, people will know that you are talking about you. Okay? Because if you say canten, coman, vivan, they will know that you are not talking about just one person. You are talking about two or more. Ustedes. Ustedes. The rule here is that you finish the verbs with en o an. Ustedes coman. Ustedes canten. Ustedes vivan. Ustedes pidan. Okay? You won't need to mention if you are talking about just one person or all of them in the room, because if you say cante, you are talking about one. If you say canten, you are talking about 2, 3, or more people. And if you are including yourself in all of those people, plural, but you're including yourself, is nosotras o nosotros, the verb would end in hemos o amos. Cantemos en la iglesia el día de hoy. Cantemos. Who? We. All of us. Cantemos. To sing at the church today. If you say cante en la iglesia el día de hoy, you're talking about just one person. Usted canta en la iglesia el día de hoy. You sing at the church today. If you say cantemos en la iglesia del día de hoy, it's more like an invitation. It's more like I am including myself in that plan. Cantemos. If I say to you, mañana tienen de tarea que coman tacos del perico. Okay, your homework is that you have to eat, coman, tacos del perico. But if I say, mañana, nuestra tarea es que comamos tacos del perico. It means that I am included in the plan. Comamos. If I say, Kevin, usted vaya y coma tacos del perico. I am talking about just him, just one person. Order for just one person, coma. Okay, I don't know if you can see the difference of the endings. Masculino o femenino, you're talking about just one person. Ustedes, when you're talking about plural, two or more people, the ending is en, canten, coman, vivan, pidan, vayan, estudien, trabajen, en, an. And if you're talking about nosotros o nosotras, we all together, I am included in the plan, or the sentence, hemos y amos. Okay, just some rules that we will have to keep in mind so the practice will be easier.
Profe,
¿Sí?
una pregunta. So for pedir would be pida, pidan, pidamos?
For pedir. Let me do it here. Pedir. That's the base form. As you see, it ends in ir. Most of them ends. Pedir. Usted pida.
Pida. Pidan for
Usted
ustedes.
pida. Correcto. Ustedes
Pidamos.
pidan. Oops, sorry, what happens? Y nosotros pidamos. ¿Ok? Pedir, to ask. Usted pida un taco. Ustedes pidan 2 tacos. Nosotros pidamos muchos tacos. ¿Ok? We learn better when we think about food. Okay, yes, something like that. It's like the basic rule. Of course, as in English, Spanish also have the exceptions. Aquí están las excepciones. The rule sometimes it doesn't apply to all the verbs. Which verbs are the ones that are irregular? These ones. Ser, venir, poner, salir, tener, decir, ir, hacer, y estar. Okay? Those are irregular because it doesn't follow the same rule that I just showed you. Okay? For example, ser es se. Venir es ven. Poner, pon. Salir, sal. Tener, ten. Decir, di. Ir, ve. Hacer, haz. Y estar, estate. Okay? Some of them, we use them a lot. For example, ser, ven, ten, haz. So it is important that we keep them in mind. If you read here, I saw a little trick that some of you can use so you can remember these irregular verbs. Son mnemonias. We say them in Spanish, mnemonics, to help you remember. Por ejemplo, Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. Ven, di, sal, as, ten, ve, pon, se. O Princess D has 17 ponies for sale. The, as, ten, pon, se, ve, y ven. Okay, I think this will be helpful in the case you will take an exam or something like that. Or in case you want to really memorize this. But we don't actually need it. Practice makes everything better. Okay. Let me make this figure. Okay, do we know all of these verbs, the meaning in English?
Stars. ¿Qué significa poner?
Poner, to put.
¿Qué significa salir?
Salir. To get out. To exit.
Put. Exit. Decir is to decide.
Decir is to tell. Decir mentiras, to tell lies.
Oh,
Decir
wait, it
la
means tell lies.
verdad. Decir la verdad, to tell the truth.
Venir. Venir is.
Venir,
Sí.
to come.
Oh, viene Cristo. Con el Christ.
Ella va a venir a la escuela. She is going to come to the school. Él va a venir a la casa. He is going to come to the house.
Sí, sí. To tell. To exit. To put. To come. Then diesel has 10 weapons.
Okay, soon you will see the importance of all of this because we're going to practice like in real situations. Now it seems like there's a lot to memorize or a lot of rules to follow, but in the everyday talking, in the everyday practicing, it's a little bit easier. Okay, let's practice a little bit. For example, if you are talking to your students, sus alumnos, okay, we have basic verbs. Terminan en ar, ir, pueden terminar en okay? If we want to give these commands to them, for example, all of them are related to school or actions that they usually do for their homeworks or for the school. So if we want to use them as commands, we cannot use them in the regular or in the base form. We have to change the verb. For example, recortar. You know what recortar means? ¿No los escuché otra vez?
To cut.
Sí, to cut. Recortar. If you are going to write down these instructions in your cuadernillo for them, because you want them to cut out something that you gave them in the cuadernillo, you cannot say recortar. For an instruction, you have to say
Recortar.
recorta. Correcto. Okay, the same for pegar. Do we know what pegar means? It has two meanings.
Pegar. To glue?
Yes. One of those meanings is to glue. That is the one that we will use a lot. The other one, pegar, means to hit. Te va a pegar ese niño. That boy is going to hit you. Pegar. We won't use that much. I hope so. Pegar, to glue. So you won't write down or you won't say pegar. You will have to say
Pegar.
pega. Correcto. And let's do the same for the other words. Escribir.
Escribe.
Escribe, correcto. Estudiar.
Estudié.
Estudia. You said estudie. Estudie, right? Guess what? This is also correct. But if you say estudia, you are talking about tú. If you say estudie, you are talking about usted. Okay, it's more polite. It's still you're still talking about one person, a command for one person. The difference is that one is a little bit more informal and the other one is a little bit more polite. Okay, if you say, usually we say estudia for the students because they are also younger. If you're talking to adults, you might want to say estudie. Okay, both are correct. Estudia y estudia. Escuchar.
Escuchar.
Escucha. Okay, and again, if you want to talk to usted, to somebody that is older or to adults, estudie. Okay. Usually,
¿Estudié?
yes. Usually escuche. Escuche.
Oh, ahora sí.
Escucha y escuche. Why? Because if we go back to what I was showing you, I told you that it can end in a o e. Estudia, estudie. Escucha, escuche. Because you're still talking with usted and tú, you're still talking about just one person. So they can work for the two of them. For tú o usted. For formal or informal, for younger and older people. It doesn't change the meanings. But usually, it's not a general rule, but usually for tú, the terminations or the endings are with a. Tú canta, tú estudia, tú escucha, but there are some of them for usted, formal one, that end in e. Escuche, estudie, investigue. Okay? I said it's not a general rule because with the verbs ending in ir, sometimes it's the opposite. So sometimes we will have to just practice and see how the language works because there's not a general rule for that. Both of them, tú and usted, have the option of ending in a o e. Okay?
Sí.
Ups, acá está. Ay, ¿dónde está? Aquí está. Ok, dos más. Practicar. Practica, correcto. Y repetir.
Repita.
Repite.
Okay, remember what I told you. Cuando termina en ir, if it ends in ir, sometimes it changes. Repite. It's for tú. Repita for usted. Okay? It's not a big deal. People will understand you're talking about just one people. It's instruction or advice or a command for just one people. Okay? But it's tricky. Ahora, este sí cambia. Es diferente para los padres. If you are talking to the parents, I mean, 2 or more people, you are not included in the plan. It's about ustedes, right? Los padres es ustedes. Ustedes. And let's remember the rule. Ustedes terminan en y an. En y an. Asistir.
Asistir.
Por ahí escuché. Asistan. Ajá. Asistir. Asistan. To attend. Asistir. Firmar.
Firmen.
Firmen, correcto. Firmar, firmen, to sign. Entregar.
Entreguen.
Correcto, entreguen.
Entreguen.
¿Qué significa?
It's exactly the same. Just remember that this letter is tricky because sometimes it has a soft sound and sometimes it has a hard sound. Entreguen. So you can just listen to G, soft, and E. Okay? Because if you take out this, is entregen. 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 Entreguen.
Entreguen. Oh, right.
Entreguen.
Right.
And remember, if you have the 2 little dots at the top, if it is because you want to make the next vowel sound. So if it would have the 2 dots at the top of the U, diéresis, it would say entreguen. Okay? Just difficult Spanish grammar. It's also difficult for native speakers. Okay? Pagar. To pay.
Paguen.
Paguen. Okay? I know you said paguen because it's the way you have to write it down. You're right in that part.
Pig.
It's not page.
Paguen.
Pague.
Pag. Pag. Get. So the U with it.
Okay. Ayudar. To help.
Ayuden.
Ayuden. Correcto.
Nice Ellie. Ayuden.
Platicar.
Platiquen.
Platiquen. Correcto. Comunicar.
Profesora,
¿Sí?
¿qué significa, or why is there a Q in platicuen?
Oh, another grammar stuff. Because letter C, yes, because letter C sometimes it has two sounds. It can sound like an S, or it can sound like a Q or K. Okay? These letters, C, Q, and K, sometimes have the same sound. Okay? For example, coca.
Okay, that's the K sound.
Quiero.
Que,
Coca. Quiero.
oh,
Kiosco. Sometimes they have the same sound. Okay, so sometimes you will see letter C with a sound of an S, like in hacemos. Hacemos. It doesn't sound like K or Q.
see.
So it's just the way you have to write it down. Platiquen, you cannot write it down like platiquen, because it would say platicen. Okay?
Oh,
Con la letra E sounds like S, like S. You see, centro. Centro. Okay, it sounds like centro.
I see.
Cédula. Celular. Okay, with the letter E next to C, it sounds like S. That's why we don't use it here, because the word is platicar. So we will have to change it for one that makes the same sound, which is Q. Platiquen. Okay, and it's almost the same. It's almost the same that letter G. With the letter Q, usually we have the letter U next to it to make the next vowel sound. Platiquen. It's not platicuen.
Platiquen.
Que, qua, qui. For example, quiero. It's a very popular word, and we don't say quiero, right? Quiero. We don't make the U sound. It's just to help it work. Quiero.
So interesting.
Spanish. Okay, the last one is comunicar.
Comunicar. Comuniquen.
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 Yes, you're right. Okay, you got the way you have to change the verbs. Okay, you got it. Now, just remember, when we finish the verbs in en or an, we don't have an emphasis in the last syllable. Okay, it's not comuniquen, no platiquen, no ayuden. Es ayuden, platiquen, comuniquen, entreguen, firmen, asistan. Do you see the difference?
Asistan.
The emphasis is more like in the middle or the beginning of the word. Usually it's not at the end of it. It's not comuniquen, platiquen, no ayuden. Es ayuden, platiquen, comuniquen. Again, people will understand. They will. This is just little advices and tips so you can sound more natural or more like a native speaker. And the last practice, I think. Okay, we got these two. Receta. Why did I tell you that we are going to practice this topic for more than one day? Because it's kind of difficult, because practice will make you learn faster than just trying to memorize the rules, because the rules, as you saw, they are not very confiable all the time. They are not the same all the time. They have the exceptions. So practice will do it. So in the future, we will have some activities like I will show you a recipe. I will try to teach you a recipe, and I will be using these commands or imperative words. So hopefully you will understand and we will see it, because if the dish is finished, that means that you understood. We use it a lot for recipes. We use it a lot in cuadernillos for the kids. You may see an improvement when you write down the commands for them to follow. And I have some plans. I also want you to show us how to do something, an instruction of how to do something. It can be a recipe, it can be a craft, it can be whatever you can think of, an ability that you have, but that will be in the future. Okay, some ideas for the future. That's why I want you to practice this. So this is just one example. Receta de arroz blanco. Okay, how to make white rice. Usually all of these words are in the basic form. All of these verbs: colocar, añadir, dejar, permitir, etc. Okay, those are instructions, but usually you don't find them like this. You find them like an order or command or instruction, so you have to change the base form. Instead of colocar, is coloca, because you are giving the instruction to one people. Okay, sometimes you find the recipes in Spanish, like if they are talking for 2 or more people. For ejemplo, coloquen en lugar de coloca. Okay, and that's fine. The only difference is that you will know that they are talking about a group of people instead of just one people. Coloca el arroz en un colador y lávalo directamente al chorro de agua. Déjalo escurrir posteriormente y seca con un trapo. Okay, it might not be the easier recipe that I found, but it has a lot of new words. A una olla agrega, you see, I am just finishing the words in a o e. Agrega el aceite una vez que esté caliente. Adicionar es adiciona. Permitir es permite. Revuelve. Añadir es añade.
Añade agua, sal, debe estar. So, esta.
Dejar es deja cocinar.
Deja cocinar.
Y retirar es retira.
Retira.
Okay, do you know how to make rice?
Sí.
Ah, todos saben. ¿Quién es el que cocina mejor? ¿Quién es el mejor cocinero o cocinera?
What's the best I can cook?
Mhm.
Oh, E-L-A.
Eli?
Who can cook the best or what?
Yes, who can cook the best? ¿Quién es el mejor cocinero o cocinera?
Ali y Juli.
Or do you cook for the rest of you or you just cook for yourself?
We have teams that cook for everyone.
Oh, ¿quién es el mejor equipo? Which one is the best team? The one that
No sé.
no
sé.
sabe.
No hablo.
No habla. Sí hablas. You are talking right now. Sí hablas. Okay, guys. As I told you, I have some plans for later on where you will actually practice and do with the language. But first, I needed to show you like these grammar bases and all the rules, the boring part. Okay? So, los voy a ver el viernes en la escuela.
Sí.
Sí. Vamos a ver a los niños y a los papás y a las mamás, ¿verdad? Tengo una pequeña sorpresa para ustedes, pequeñita. Hasta el viernes.
¿Regalos?
Sí, uno pequeñito para todos.
For us?
Sí. Something I brought from my state, de mi estado, Sinaloa.
Fish tacos.
Okay, so I really wait for you to see you on Friday. I hope I can see all of you on Friday. Okay.
Sí.
Los veo el viernes. Cuídense. Pórtense bien.
Hasta luego.
Bye bye.